Hello everyone, I'm here today because about 2 weeks ago, on the 28th of May I believe, Ngugi passed away, sadly, and I just wanted to make a video to commemorate this moment. Ngugi is one of my favorite authors, and I think he deserves so much more respect and praise. Not respect maybe, like I think whoever knows about him respects him, but a lot more praise and acknowledgement than he has. He was one of the more important African writers in the decolonizing period. He had many brilliant ideas and theses about why African writers should reclaim their space and their storytelling and their culture in a whole, to try to reinvigorate their own ideals. And on that note, I wanted to recommend a few books from him that I think really encompass what he is about. The first one that I think is the best starting point to understand his work, and maybe not the first one that you read, but it does serve as an understanding of all his other books, is Decolonizing the Mind. And this is a non-fiction book in which he explains things like how to write in a way that it's not following the colonial standards, reclaiming the African storytelling way. He also started at some point writing in Gikuyu, and he explains in this book why. Basically he felt that even though he can perfectly write in English, and he does translate his own books to English, so there's nothing wrong with his English, but it's not just that, is that you think different, you express yourself different when you are multilingual. And in that case he wanted himself to claim the Gikuyu language and the Gikuyu culture and put that in a book, because it is worth sharing, and that's what he argues, that this culture is still worth something even though it was completely ignored by the colonizers. So yeah, very interesting book, full of very great ideas, and I really admire that book. I think it gives a lot of context for himself and the African context in general. Then one of my favorite books is The Wizard of the Crow. It's quite a chunker, and I'm not sure if people are going to enjoy it as much as I did without knowing the context of Kenya, but I have heard from other people that they did, so maybe if you like political satire, this is for you. It is a political satire about this imaginary world in which there is this very big dictator in Africa, in an African country. We don't get a specific, but obviously it's very based in Kenya because he is Kenyan. And well, this dictator has very random ideas and thoughts that he puts in place, and we follow mostly as a person, a man that he's relatively small. He is looking for a job. He doesn't have any big thoughts or anything, and at one point when he's running away from the police, he gets away with it pretending that he's a wizard. And the way that he convinces everyone that he is a wizard is basically by having empathy and looking at things from a different angle of trying to help them. And so he becomes more and more famous because people think that he has real powers, even though his real powers is just telling people the truth. And so this dictator, who has an issue all of a sudden, he decides that he needs a wizard, and he looks for the most powerful one, and he gets a lot of good name from this man, and so this man involuntarily completely gets involved into the government, and shenanigans happen. So that's what the book is about, and I think it's really funny and it's really poignant, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I would highly recommend that you check that one out. I think if you like political satire, you probably are going to like this one. Then if you are more into more classical storytelling, I will probably tell you to start with his autobiographical books. The one that I have read is A Grain of Wheat, and it's basically a story of him growing up in colonized Kenya, and the Gikuyu fights for independence as well. So if you are more into more traditional stories, that is one that I think will appeal to you more. I thought that one was my least favorite, I think, of all the ones that I have read from him, just because it's more traditional. It doesn't feel as special to me, but I think it's still a really good book. And then the last one that I wanted to recommend in this video is The Perfect Nine, and this is again a little bit more, not necessarily experimental, but a little bit more out of the comfort zone of many readers, I would say. So if you like to explore things a little bit further, maybe that's also a good one for you. So The Perfect Nine tells the creation story of the Gikuyu tribe. So the Gikuyus live in the center of Kenya, and they kind of gather around Mount Kenya, which is one of the, not the highest, is the highest of Kenya? It is the highest of Kenya, it's just not the highest of East Africa, because that's Kilimanjaro, but it's the highest mountain of Kenya, and it has snow at the top. So in the Kikuyu myths, it used to be an ostrich that became a mountain, but that's why it's white and black. And this story follows the daughters of the creation, the first humans basically, or the first Gikuyu people, and it has a little bit of a feminist twist, and it's also told in a very much a fable sort of way, of the traditional storytelling, like oral storytelling of Kenya, because in Africa many people think that there was little culture before colonization arrived, and that's not necessarily the case. It's just the culture was not so much attached to permanent things, I think, and so because they didn't have books, and the colonizers assumed they didn't have stories, which is completely different. And this book tries to reclaim that space, I think, of African storytelling. So I think, all of these books I would highly recommend. There are others that are also very famous and you can also explore, like The Devil on the Cross. That's kind of more on the Wizard of the Crow kind of tone. He wrote many books, and I would recommend for you to read them, because he is very interesting author and very interesting man, very interesting thoughts. So if you didn't hear about him before now, I would recommend that you pick up his books, and if you had heard and you have been meaning to pick his books up, this is your call. Pick them now, and I think they're great. So I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and the next video. Bye!